Can y'all hear anything?
We can hear ourselves, I guess, but
I heard something about the meeting is being recorded, and that was it.
right. That's when the audio stopped for me.
Same here.
Yeah. I can hear you all talking. That's it.
Audio problems at the meeting.
Let me call over to Bruce and see what's going on.
Well, I hate technical issues, but I'd rather them be somebody else's than mine.
Hey,
Or try it now, Ken.
Can you hear me now, guys?
We can hear you
yeah,
now.
Okay. Yay.
We get to do. It got muted in Zoom somehow. I think somebody muted everybody. It got you.
Okay. Second new member is PJ Calhoun. K04RM.
Never
Who is
detected
a
the
tech who has an old license that has upgraded to automatic, but he did pass the tech, so this is showing him as a tech. And the third new member is Kenneth Vaya. KU4 SMC, who's an extra. So those are the three new members. Do I have a motion?
I moved that we admit them.
Second?
Second.
All
Everybody okay?
Aye.
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 All those against? Okay. Super.
Reboot.
Thank you, Ken.
Well,
Jim, did you want to make your announcement?
yeah.
Got to say who you are because they can't see you.
Yeah, I think he's going to reboot. Are you're going to wait?
I was gonna try to avoid that. So go ahead and talk.
Okay.
Let's see. We might take a
This is
break.
Jim Ruben W for PKR, and we have the 10K race next Saturday. And I don't know if anybody out there in the ethers is part of our crew. I don't think so. But anyway, for those of you who are here, you'll see these bags up on the stage, and I'll be handing that out to each of you who are going to be at the race. And it's got a T-shirt, it's got a vest. Some of them have flags in them, so the flags are reserved for those people who are going to be on the course. The flags, there's going to be a PVC pipe with carabiners on it, and each water stop, medical tent, and the start line. And it was green, yellow, red, and black. And shows event management will be telling that control which flags to put up depending on what the atmospheric conditions are. So it's good. Put up a green flag. If it's getting a little bit worse, they'll tell us to put up.
Just lost him.
Must have rebooted.
Well, oftentimes that's the quickest way to resolve something, just reboot.
Yep.
And other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how did you enjoy the play? That usually gets a groan.
My mic was muted.
I'll send out an email with the pass. There's a parking pass that'll let you get past the police, but there's no parking on Monument Avenue. It's on the side streets, and I'll send out that email when we get to that. So that's about it for now. I'll send out information as I get it, and see me at the end of the meeting, and I'll give you your goodie bags.
Jim,
Yes,
this is W4ZAK.
yes.
After your first comment, you went dead, and the first thing we heard after that was you talking about the parking passes. Sorry about
Okay.
that.
That's okay, thanks. There will be parking passes sent to you by email. And those of us, the four of us who will be at the, I keep wanting to call it the EOC, but it's the command center, we'll be parking in the police garage. But I will be sending email out with the parking pass. Did you get the part about the flags and all that? And did you?
No, but it's not important. I'm at a water stop, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. Anyway, I'll be sending out emails with more information early next week, Monday actually, or maybe tonight actually. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Jim. Does anyone in the remote audience, I know you can't see me, and that's your loss, of course, but have any questions or comments before I move on to the live audience? Hearing none, I have a little bit of show and tell.
Can we see if they're out, if they're hearing us at all?
Yeah, they should be here.
We hear you.
We can hear you now.
All right.
So anyway, for my show and tell, I have what's called a tiny SA Ultra. And there was a tiny SA that came up before, and this is an upgrade from that. It's 2.8.
Trying to go in here, but of course,
It
I
doesn't
don't
have
have
to
to put it right in.
between. The other one, you have to switch between high quality port and low quality port.
I took it out because we tried to put the camera straight in. Sometimes.
This one supposedly goes to 6 gigahertz. And the 6 gigahertz. The guy who reviewed it in QSD was picking up a 10 gigahertz signal on it. Although it may not be the same quality, but these are actually pretty good in terms of accuracy, both in terms of frequency measurement and in terms of amplitude measurement. Can't overload them with proper attenuators. They're pretty accurate. The difference between one of these and a $1,000 machine is that these are kind of slow, and the waveforms are not as pretty, but this is pretty practical. If you wanted to test the spurs coming off your balcony, or test for intermodulation. This also has a resolution bandwidth of 250 hertz. You can measure intermodulation distortion. It's also a signal generator that does frequencies and those also have a waterfall. So it's kind of cool. It's $129. So I was going to be to look at. I think Bruce also wanted to show some of our toys.
I'm going to show some of the, we've come up with an emergency thing, otherwise known as Wynn's phone over here. Let me get some of the stuff we got with the club on it. Well, I brought it up here with all the rest of the stuff, and now I can't find it. This has been the usual fun games. Okay, I'm not going to show it to you. How about that?
Let's get to the AA meeting. Go ahead and start.
Huh?
Yes, Scott?
Yeah, that's all right. So we bought a bunch of stuff. Well, this is a good camera operation we have going here.
I used to work for CVS.
We bought, if you remember, I guess the meeting before last, we agreed with $500 to buy testing that would be loaned up to folks in the club. And so we've got almost all the gear we want to get. That's, you'll see a write up on it on the website. You can see how you check it out. I'm going to show you a couple of them. One of these is a 300 watt W load. Perfectly, good sort of thing to use if you would need to run some testing. The other one takes more hands to do. And this is the simpler of two. This is the simpler of two things to check your antenna SWR. This one is a nice little graphic display, easy to set up, easy to use. Doesn't give you the detail you would get with a vector network analyzer. We have one of those as well, but these are the two I'm bringing. So we got about, I think, 5 different items, and these are the two I brought out. So these you can see on the website how to sign them out. And what you'll do is you'll sign them out, come to a club meeting, we'll get it to you, and then next club meeting you bring it back. So that's what I've got on that. Mr. President?
If there's anyone here or in the remote out there, suddenly, Eric, go and tell. You ready to let you someone talk about? Okay, I have a process say that it's ancient, but pretty good home. Okay. And I guess so when is the technical update about our new heaters?
Yeah.
How Mike is working the amplifier.
Yeah, on the D-Star, good news, we had a failure of some amplifiers on both of our power amplifiers on the repeater a couple of weeks ago. Mike has repaired those, and we'll soon have those back in the rack, but the repeaters are still working, they just don't have
We lost audio, guys. You can hear us.
If everybody on Zoom mutes themselves, it might help the situation.
I just sent Win a text message to let him know we lost the audio. Apparently Ken Liven's computer was doing the audio and he dropped offline. Win's on his own phone camera, so we're seeing video. Okay, here we go.
I think it's down video.
Thank you. I very rarely, if ever, do that on my own. Hey, it took us all this time to get it to work.
I have a motion to close the business meeting.
Aye.
We've got a special treat tonight, unless people want to bring a special treat from Daryl WW4F. He's going to talk about this completely homebrew 500-watt station. Take it over, Daryl.
Thank you, Rick. Good evening to you joining us online, and good evening to everybody here in attendance. So I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the build experience of the 500-watt station. It's comprised of a Hermes Light 2 SDR transceiver. It's a high performance SDR controller. This is similar to one you'll find on the Apache radio website. They have a high controller built just like that, but I have. And there's the Hard Rock 500 amplifier that we'll take a look at. And I'm going to do this in 3 steps. Tonight we'll focus on the SDR radio, and then we'll look at the controller, and then we'll take a look at the amplifier. Because there are 3 different build scenarios. The Hermes Light transceiver, I followed a group of professionals that were collaborating here in the US and Europe on the development. And I watched that over a period of years and decided to pull the trigger and jump into that. That I wanted to participate in that trigger. The controller, I got bill of materials. And then I got files. I found the CAD files for the enclosure, sent those off to a panel shop, Front Panel Express in Washington State, and had the enclosure made. I got the Gerber files, found the Gerber files, sent them to PC board. That PC board. It's based on Raspberry Pi 4. You can see the layout here on the side, typical Raspberry Pi 4. And that's the typical 7-inch monitor you see with the display. So it's your file manager. And the point is, when you want to build any piece of equipment, it's high performance. Not necessarily one of these. I'm not promoting these. These are just examples. You might join a corporation, and that's what you have to be aware of. What you have to, as you go into what you might be able to experience. And then this is a straightforward kit. Well, actually, 2 kits. It's 5 watts in, 500 watts out. 1 pair of semiconductors. No drivers, no free drivers. Just a few passive devices. Potentiometers to set the bias. 48-volt power supply at the bottom. Well, total 48 volts in the bottom. So we'll look at that in October. So this month, Hermes Light, next month, the controller, and then October, I'll have another presentation. We'll talk about that. Talk about the LD MOS technology that allows us to do that. And then what does the FCC say about that? 5 watts in, 500 watts out. That's a lot of cables. Normally, you don't find amplifiers in the market like that. But so this evening, I'm going to focus on the Hermes Light 2. It's a open source SDR transceiver. That means all of the files involved with it are open. You can take them, use them. You just can't profit from them. The key criteria is low cost. Your flex is going to be in the range of 2,300. I think the Apache Lab standard non is just had a price increase of about 3,300. It's about 350. So it's they built it around a cable modem chip. It's an AD9866 cable modem IC. It's a direct conversion. It means you're not mixing signals together. 100 hertz to 38 megahertz. Having no mixers, it's low distortion, so you get a lot of that's a benefit. And the RTL SDR, they mix the frequencies together, so you can go from 100 kilohertz to 1 gigahertz, but you would have to get connected with that. It includes a switched RF board, and there's the field programmable gate array is a Cyclone 4 25K LED. So it's a very small field programmable gate array inside. And what I'll do is I can look that, or we can focus. Let's go right in field programmable gate array. This is the transceiver here. This is the bandpass filter board back here. This is a companion board. That's another project there. That's not part of the basic Hermes Light 2. So you had a group working together on the design, the hardware design, software design, and then they went to another manufacturer, third party fabs in China, and to build those boards out and handle commercial aspects of it. So let me check on those. So you can look, and that's the only site I wanted to look up, and it's on that document is HermesLight.com. Hermes, Light.com. So you can see it highlighted on the document if you open up the document that's on the drive, or you can just go and type in.
Yeah, let me get out of full screen.
That document.
Okay.
And that's the site, and you'll find the all the resources that are necessary to put this.
We need a Windows operator right here.
Links to the GitHub, you can find links to the Microfabs, YouTube channels to the game, device up for the 5-watt amplifier that's on the transceiver. You'll see links to the IO groups. It's very good participation, guys working together, collaborating together to the next stage of development. We'll talk about that too. Find the gateway. The gateway, I'm used to the term firmware. You would put into your onboard RAM, non-volatile RAM, or EEPROMs. But they refer to it as gateware, and I guess that's because you're dealing with a field program gateway. So it's probably the term, reason for that term, gateway.
We have a
You'll be
thumb
able
drive
to
in
get
there.
access to
Here
the
it is.
gateway. But you buy this from MegaPass, you're on your own, there's no one. But that's the downside, you know, it's a high performance, it's a good piece of, a good, nice device. And, but you're gonna rely, if you have trouble, you have to rely on the IO groups for the Hermes Light 2. And, you'll have to rely on bringing down the gateway and then picking the application you want to use. I use, I think you'll see running here, ISDR. So because that's based on Raspberry Pi, but often I have it hooked up to my PC and I run the software that the non-radios will run, and that's FETIS. And that evolved from Power SDR, from the original Flex radio that we made that up. And that's great.
Is this the one you were talking about?
That's all I'm going to need to make that one site.
Okay, let me see if I can get us back into Zoom. And then we get us back into Zoom, how we get it to, I mean, it's just crazy.
For those at home, you can also do that. If you have a second monitor, you could go to
Yeah,
HermesLight.com.
there we go.
And you can also open up that site, and that's the only site I'll be looking at. It's either, I brought on all the equipment for a reason, so I didn't have to do a slide.
You know how to run Windows, right?
And
Ah,
I
oh,
just
that's
wanted to
right.
look at this one site.
All right, so we're gonna do a share.
But this is Hermes Light 2. Of course, there was a Hermes Light, the original one. And so the point is, when do you feel comfortable that the developers come along to the point? That's what I want. That would be my expectations. So I thought of it for probably 1 or 2 years, working with the original.
Can
Hermes
we?
Light.
Mute Win Clark.
That would be okay with me. But, so and if we can bring that up.
Well, I keep trying to bring it up.
It was.
Yeah, it was up. We need someone to know how to use Windows to do this stuff. Okay, can you see it? Can you see the Hermes Light? I can't see what you're seeing out there. You can't tell me. I don't know what to
Yep.
see.
Hermes Light.
You see it. Thank you.
Yeah, but the top is your address too. HermesLight.com.
And you see the PC board?
Yeah, the PC board with some chips on it.
So scroll down, let's scroll down.
All the way down to GitHub is now I can see the bottom. I can see
Now click
like
on.
1.x.
That's fine, thank you.
Okay.
Let's click on Tinley, TINLE, under Hermes Light 1. It's
Oh,
right
okay.
there. Open that up. So
There it is.
that's Hermes Light 1. And so that was, you can see the dwell, the distance between some of the camps and building that, and I looked at that. And if we go to, now if we switch over to gallery, build gallery. Jim, if you can find build gallery, you can leave back up. And go to build gallery.
We're here.
No,
No.
or leave that site,
Oh, we're leaving that site. Where are we going?
back up one time. Now, click on build gallery, right down below Tinley.
Right here.
That's it. So you can buy those boards, you scroll down. And then folks were building. This is what they were building with the original Hermes Light. And you can keep scrolling down, a lot of different builds, peripheral devices connected, probably some of the units for the field programmable gateway is not installed. So they were using some of the development tools for the SATCOM field programmable gateway to perform the operation we needed. You can keep, I think there's some more on there. And I was on the fence, getting ready to jump in and buy that and build that and get involved in that, but it really didn't meet, for everything I wanted to do. I was more interested in something with an enclosure. Something that is complete. I wanted the transmitter and the receiver. Maybe I can. And then here at this board, and then I wanted to have a bandpass filters. So I wanted a complete transceiver. And then you want it packaged in a nice enclosure with, the end plates and so forth. And so when they got to this point, when they transitioned here, there was another developer working on this board. They made an agreement with Maker Advance, and they had the first success with the first run. Then I said, okay, that meets my expectations. I want to jump into that. You still had to see, you wait all the way through it. Thinking that you had to know how to get there. But you still had to go out to certain sites and grab the firmware that you need, or the gateware, install that. I could see that. And then I went and got this USB blaster. USB blaster will work with the program for the field parameter gateway. That's Altera software made by Intel. And you can then download that file to your desktop. Then from your desktop, connect this to USB port, plug that into the board, and then you can download the gateway. And then you've got that done. And what they've done they did some really nice development in the UDP that includes DHCP connection. And what that means is it can find itself the internet connections, the network connections. So when you plug this into a PC, it'll find it. And so you can use some of the software packages. I mentioned I use Status, but there's Power SDR, the original Power SDR, Spark SDR, SDR Console, Pipe, HP SDR. It doesn't care, the hardware doesn't care. You plug in power, antenna, and Ethernet connection, and run your application. Then you need to go into application, make some adjustments, for this transceiver. But you're able to get that going there with that. You do need to be able to run the application quiz. That is another SDR software. You'll find that on the back. If you scroll back up to the Hermes light, go and click your arrow back.
Where do you want me to go?
Go to the top of the arrow back arrow.
Oh, okay.
Back arrow. And then if you go to the community project list, it's the upper under. Now we're leaving Hermes Light 1, going to Hermes Light 2 up at the top. Go back again. And go at the top. And in the middle, Hermes community projects. And then you see the hardware and then scroll down to software. Okay, I think it's here. No, it's not this location. Nevertheless, you can navigate around this, you'll find the different applications. This helps you set up the bias for the two transistors for the 5-watt amplifier on this board. So everything worked out, I'd say, pretty well. With the Altera software, downloading those files, they're very large files. To get those downloaded, and I actually shot myself in the foot. I didn't realize it took 40 minutes to download all those files over the internet to run that application. Altera software, you can get you'll see in the YouTube setup on their YouTube channel for Hermes Light 2. They describe the process, and you have the option to get the light version that's free of charge, or you can get just the blaster section. I recommend just the blaster because that's a smaller package. And you need to get go to the GitHub that you'll find on that they refer to go the address for the GitHub to pull down the gateware. And that's the one thing you need to be careful and intentional about. If you join a project not just this one, but any of them. And it's been carried over a couple of years. You want to be sure you get the latest version of software or firmware that you need to install. But if you just search the IO groups for the latest version, you might get the latest version 5 years ago. You need to be careful and watch the date. A lot of us that work in engineering are used to an engineering change notice. You can see the date when it changed. Or if you work in a lab, you have standard operating procedures, and archive documentation goes one area, so you know you don't get mixed up. But you can get confused, and I've noticed that people get confused with getting the latest version because there are the build, we're at the 9th build, and so that means there were the 8 previous steps. 9 has been built multiple times now, so it's like the build, they refer to the build, the 9th build, so that's like a technical standard for the hardware. You'll need to be sure to get the right firmware that goes with the 9th build. So that's one of the things you really, in any project, you need to keep your eye on. Be intentional about cross-checking any way you can. Look to see multiple references, recent references to that site to let you know you've got the latest version. But I have to say, you're really pleased with the development. Really, it was a lot of fun. Put this together. It was very successful. Performs very well. Some of you heard me in the 80-meter net on Monday night using that. So it works well. Now, I mentioned this has a companion board. This little board in the back. And there's an engineer, Papa. His call sign is JI1UBD in Japan, and Robert, WA2T in New Jersey. This way, sure. Yeah, thank you. So those guys, this, like I said, this is a stripped down version. It doesn't have a key. It doesn't have audio, because you're normally connected to your PC. You're going to have your audio on the PC, virtual audio. And no interface to an external amplifier. These fellows really wanted to have those 3 things. And so he did this nice companion board, piggyback board to plug in. And it was an ideal solution, but it did not fit with the original design criteria. The guys were not interested in it that were building the original designs. So for a while, it had a port. And that means on GitHub, you might go to another place. You had to branch off. It was a branch. They call it a port in GitHub, but it's a branch because they kept it separate. Because he has code, special code, to support that development of the companion board. Chapter. And it's so don't be surprised if somebody has an idea of something special that doesn't fit the original criteria, and then they'll say, "Okay, you keep it separate from our work." And I think one time they had to go back and update the gateway for their mods, but then they decided it would be fine. Had to bring it all together, so it's back together in one location for the 9th builds, and Robert has his own. He goes about Hermes Light 2 Plus. So this, and he has a user group, IO group, and you'll see that he'll build 20 or 30 boards at a time. That's companion boards with the alternative in place for about $80. And he'll build 20 or 30, and it'll appear in a couple of months, he'll sell out. And months later, I'm going to let me know if he wants some boards. And some guys will start asking for it. So it is popular among the group. I imagine there are about 1,000 of these that have been built. There are numerous builds, and I think they're doing about, the production one is going to be about 200 or so. And they'll run about 2 months, and then they'll sell out. And then all of a sudden the website will open up, says, make a reservation. We're going to make another one in about a month. And by the end of the month, we'll be shipping everything we shipped out. It works pretty good. It seems like it's a very good cooperation between the builder group and MakerFab. It's been good business. It seems to be good business with MakerFab. That's something for They specialize in prototype work, usually smaller ones, 20, 25, where you need to get it to your field testers. This is worked out really nice for them. The future, the designer for the bandpass board into ADR is his person into ADR. He's here in the US. He's designed an IO board. So that will probably be an alternative to the companion board, bring out a BCD for external amplifiers or external other bandpass filters changes. And Copper JI1UDD is working on a 30-watt amplifier board, and it should fit in a closure with that footprint. This is a standard enclosure. It's not made for this, just for this. And they also make this in 55 millimeters tall. So this is about 25 millimeters height, 25 to 30. And then they have another one that would have these extended sides to be 55 millimeters. And that may fit in that same enclosure. So that'd be a nice package. So he's already made his schematic and the Gerber files available, parts of it available. So you can see that, the next step, and that's really what I like the most about this is I can come back to radio, upgrade it and modify it and improve it, try something else, build something new and add to it. So I've had a really good experience with that. And, overall, it's been a very good experience. You just have to be careful with firmware versions where you know where you are in the process. Because there's a lot of history that you understand history. How far does the history go back for you in this about non-development? Are there any questions or comments?
Okay, but you've been showing us the little box of the transceiver, right?
Right.
Okay, and so you got the controller, you got the power hand.
Right.
You also said that you could hook that up to the PC. So do you not need the controller?
No, you don't have to.
Okay.
So you're running, so this just runs the high SDR. But if you don't want to connect, you don't want to run the high, you just go run the PC and not take it.
And you can still put water off.
Yeah, it's like the insulator.
This is
It just
somewhat close.
configuration. So
Also,
it'll look just like one of the Apache Lab.
I thought it was that
Okay, you said
projected,
the
but it
transceiver puts out 5 watts.
same thing here, yeah.
Okay, so can you use that QRP just out when it's done
Yeah,
like
and
that?
most people do.
Okay,
Or they use the hot block 50.
so I assume that this actually is kind of an adapter for your antenna, and filter 69, whatever.
No, I have the SMA on one end of my cable and PL2 now on the other end.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Anybody online with questions or comments?
Tell us more about that beautiful controller. You got a display, is that?
That's the next one.
Oh, that's.
But you have to. I'm taking the part of the detail of the building that. That was a different experience, right?
You said the
Francine?
transceiver was about $300-ish?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. You can go on that site, Megapass, and you can find it through HermesLike2.com. And you can find there's a wiki, build wiki, and you'll see a link to highlight it, Megapass, will take you right to it. And you might have to search HermesLike2 under Megapass, because that link doesn't take you exactly to the radio, but you'll see the board, the transceiver board, and you'll see the separately by that separate to the bandpass filters.
Just surprised that it's like the autofocus isn't working.
I don't think
And the autofocus won't work on the camera.
Once we swap, is there planning that production line?
My hair is a little bit, are you saying make it fast or mega fast?
No, it's make it fast, fabrication.
Oh,
Make it-
maker,
Make it fast.
maker fast.
I think this might be the autofocus camera. When we hang it up, we'll shut down.
We'll come back next month and I'll do we'll take the controller apart, we'll see what that's on.
Thank you, Daryl. So let's wrap it up. I just want to mention to those of you who don't know that we're losing a great member of the Richmond Manager community, Jim Bates, stayed alive. Unfortunately, he's living in Northern Virginia. He's done so much for us over the years, and we're going to miss him great. Other than that, that's it. Now, John DeMay, can you hear me?
Does anybody hear us?
Anybody?
We hear you.
Anybody?
We hear you, Ray.
Can you hang out for a brief board meeting?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay, thank you, John.
much.
You forgot to hook up the autofocus camera, so that's why it was so blurry. This is great fun, I'll tell you. All right, Mr. President.
Yeah, that's it. So we'll, I guess we'll leave this on so we can.
So we're done.
Yeah, that's it.
Vote to dismiss.
I think we already closed the business meeting.
Oh. Okay. I'll stop the recording.
As far as the board goes,